Hello. I was hoping this would be a Padres victory post-game show, a Padres sweep the Dodgers post-game show. It is neither one of those. I'm John. Hi. If you're here, you probably know who I am. You're probably hopefully a subscriber to Section 1904. Today it's just going to be me. I reached out to my co-host Darren Smith and asked if he was interested in joining a Sunday afternoon post-game show. And you will all be unsurprised and happy to hear that Darren has better things to do with his time. He answered my text from a paddleboard in the middle of the water somewhere. So Darren's having a good afternoon. Better afternoon than the San Diego Padres, who won a series. They won a series. I'm sure they wanted the sweep to kind of erase last weekend's sweep. They didn't get it, but they won a series against the Dodgers. They are still tied for first place in the NL West. All that's good stuff. I missed I missed every single moment and pitch and everything from Saturday night's game. I was busy. I was not able to watch or even listen on the radio. I had to catch up by reading about it, watching highlights, et cetera, et cetera. So I was really looking forward to today's game after what seemed like a really exciting, wonderful, happy game yesterday. And this one sucked, man. And I'll tell you why it sucked. It's not because it sucked the whole time. For a while there, I thought the Padres were going to win. The Padres had a 2-1 lead for 3 straight innings, and it seemed like they were going to get into their bullpen, and that was going to be that. It was going to be the run prevention game, the bullpen game, and you can win a bullpen game if you have the Padres bullpen and a lead. That's where I thought all this was going. Unfortunately, I need to get some stuff up in front of me so I don't say something stupid. Unfortunately, Mike Schilt made a bad decision here. And I mean, you guys, if you guys saw me on Friday night, I was saying like, look, Mike Schilt did a lot of stuff I didn't agree with. There was 3 straight bunts. But, you couldn't argue with the results. This one felt like a particularly bad decision. And I want to dive into it because it's the most interesting part of this game. So, in case you were unable to watch, Nick Paveta started the game, the first inning of the game, going, I think, walk, single, walk, loading the bases for Teoscar Hernandez, who hit what should have been a grand slam to center field, but fill-in center fielder Ramon Laureano caught the ball over the wall, brought it back. That's a sac fly. Dodgers score 1 run. They didn't score again until the 6th inning when Nick Pavetta was on pitch 90-ish. I don't have the exact pitch, but 90-ish, and tired. Nick Pavetta started really bad. It resulted in only 1 run given up. And then he was really good until the, 90th minute, 90th pitch. And 2 things. One is funny to me personally that the pitch before he gave up the home run in the 6th inning to Freddie Freeman hit a screamer down the line that just barely missed being fair. And I remember like that happening and going like, whew, they really dodged a bullet there because that could have started a rally having Freddie Freeman on second base like that. And then boom, ball goes flying over the fence, 2-2. Whatever. 6 innings, 2 runs. That is a hell of a start for Nick Pavetta after a hell of a start from Nestor Cortez after a hell of a start from Yu Darvish. The starters did their job. And Mike Schilt brought in Jeremiah Estrada. And when Jeremiah Estrada came trotting in, all I could think of was today's Padres Daily, which I was reading this morning because I missed last night's game. And this was a section that Kevin Acee put in here. I'm just going to read the whole thing because I think it's incredibly relevant to today's game. Jeremiah Estrada was steaming long after last night's game ended. He had exercised a demon and then gotten burned. Quote, taking a 0 off the board, it's annoying. When you give up 9 runs to one friggin' team, it's frustrating. You just start, I'm still going to go out there and throw my same stuff, but That doesn't sound like someone who's confident. It sounds like someone who knows that they have a bit of a demon, when facing the LA Dodgers. That's not the whole thing. He goes on to be more frustrated about giving up the home run to Alex Freeland last night. Quote, "I threw everything I needed to throw, and all of a sudden that happens. It changes a scenario." And then Kevin Acee puts the stats together. His ERA, Jeremiah Estrada's ERA this season against all teams not named the LA Dodgers is 1.36. His ERA in 5 2/3 innings against the LA Dodgers is 14.29. That was before today's game. Before today's game. He was quoted in the paper basically saying, "I don't understand why I pitched so poorly against the Dodgers." And Kevin Acee came with stats to back up, "Wow, this guy is terrible against the Dodgers and really great against everyone else." And the first opportunity that Mike Schilt has to put him in this game, he puts him in the game. Why? Why? This is what I did immediately. I went to look and see who's available today. Probably not Jason Adam. He pitched on Friday and Saturday. Probably, well, maybe Adrian Morhone, who threw 15 pitches last night to get the save. Jeremiah Estrada threw 14 pitches last night. He was obviously available. Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui, that's the tail end of your bullpen. David Morgan hadn't pitched since Wednesday. Now, I understand Robert Suarez, Mason Miller. That's you when you want to save those for the 8th, 9th inning. Sure, whatever. But Estrada over David Morgan is a choice. And to be completely blunt about it, like David Morgan has been incredible. Now I need to look this up. For pretty much the entire season. But let's see, is this him? Yep, the same guy. Let's look. Splits. I bet since the All-Star break, he's essentially been untouchable. All right, 2025 season totals. His ERA is 1.72. And second half. And since the All-Star break, in which he's appeared in 14 games, his ERA is 1.15. It was 2.14 before the All-Star break. David Morgan, I've been saying this for a week or two. David Morgan deserves to be in the conversation with the rest of these guys. He deserves to be in the conversation with Robert Suarez, Mason Miller, Jeremiah Estrada, Jason Adam, Adrian Morhone. He deserves to be in that conversation. The numbers back that up. And this isn't just like avoiding high leverage situations. He's been brought in high leverage situations and has performed well. Actually, here, I can look this up. Let's see how he's pitched against the Dodgers this season. Opponent, Dodgers, 2.57 ERA in 7 innings pitched against the Dodgers. So you have a choice here, Mike Schilt. You can go with the guy who pitched last night, who, going into the game, had an ERA above 14 against this Dodgers team, who was just quoted in the newspaper this morning saying, "I don't know why I can't get the Dodgers out." Or you have a guy who has incredible numbers against the Dodgers, incredible numbers this season, incredible numbers since the All-Star break, who hasn't thrown a pitch since Wednesday when he threw 14 against the San Francisco Giants. And Mike Schilt went with Jeremiah Estrada. I just, the only explanation, and I know I'm probably too nice with Mike Schilt when I do this stuff, but the only explanation to me as to why you would bring Jeremiah Estrada into that situation is that you know that he's bad against the Dodgers. You know he was in the paper this morning talking about he doesn't know why he's bad against the Dodgers. And you want to see if A, you can dispel him of that notion, and B, you want to know if you can count on this guy in high pressure situations against the Dodgers or anyone else once you get to the playoffs. Because remember, today was the last time the Padres played the Dodgers this regular season. It felt like he threw the game away. And I don't mean Estrada, I mean Schilt. When Estrada came trotting in, knowing what I knew, that Estrada had pitched yesterday, that his ERA, his performance against the Dodgers this year was so bad that he was actually publicly in his own head about it. You could see it coming a mile away what was about to happen. So Jeremiah Estrada comes in the 7th, gives up a single to Andy Pajes, walks Michael Conforto, gets Miguel Rojas to fly out to center field before Dalton Rushing crushes a 3-run home run to right center field to 387 feet. Gives the Dodgers a 5-2 lead. And look, the Padres won these first 2 games. I know that. I know the offense has looked a little bit better, but the offense is not clicking on all cylinders this series. They're still kind of missing the power element. If they were down by a run or 2, I'd say, oh, that's a rally away. But down 3 already? Ugh. Estrada then gets Ohtani to strike out swinging. Why he's left in this game is beyond me. Before he gives up a single to Mookie Betts. It's 5-2 Dodgers. Game's not quite over, but it's pretty close to being over. And Mike Schilt brings in Wandy friggin' Peralta. I don't know why, except he was like, oh, I need a lefty to go against Freddie Freeman. How that worked out was Freddie Freeman hit a home run. His second home run of the game. One against Paveta, one against Wandy Peralta. Got to have that lefty-lefty matchup, Schilt. And the Dodgers take a 7-2 lead. Here's what happens when the Padres come up. Gavin Sheets leads off with a double. We're going to talk about Gavin Sheets. Laureano grounds out. Jake Cronenworth grounds out. Blake Trinan comes in and strikes out Elias Diaz. We're going to talk about Diaz in a second, too. All right, that's the 7th. 8th, who cares about the Dodgers offense? They're up by 5 runs. Tanner Scott comes in. Tatis grounds out. Arise pops out to the infield. Machado grounds out. That's your 8th inning. If you are going to have a chance to have any kind of run, any kind of comeback, you needed the top of your lineup, 1, 2, 3, to not go down 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. And they did. In the 9th inning, Yuki Matsui comes in, who's absolutely the white flag of the season. When Yuki Matsui is in, you can all but guarantee that this game is out of hand. Otherwise, someone like David Morgan would be in this game. And he gives up a home run to Shohei Ohtani. Got to get that lefty-lefty matchup, Schilt. Always works out to get that lefty-lefty matchup when you're pitching, and you never want it when you're hitting, right? Ohtani hits a home run, 409 feet. That's what he does. Dodgers take an 8-2 lead. And in the bottom of the 9th, old friend Kirby Yates comes in. Ryan O'Hearn grounds out. Billy Wagner's kid grounds out. And Gavin Sheets flies out. I'm happy that this series went so much better than last weekend's series. And the Padres absolutely looked like the better team for 2.5 games. I'm frustrated when I can see things that are going to happen before they happen. And if Mike Schilt was bringing in Jeremiah Estrada, Mike Schilt has the same amount of information that I have. Actually, no, he has a lot more information than what I have. If I know that Jeremiah Estrada has an ERA above 14 against the Dodgers this year, David Morgan has an ERA of 2 against the Dodgers, he knows this. He knows. If I know that Jeremiah Estrada is quoted in the local paper saying he's freaked out pitching against the Dodgers, he knows. He's not bringing him in because he thinks that's the best pitcher for the scenario. He's bringing him in thinking, I got to understand if I can get this out of this guy's head. I got to help Jeremiah here. And when you are 1 game up in first place, and it's the last time that you play the Dodgers this season, I just don't think that's the time to be doing those things. I don't think that that's the time to be boosting Jeremiah Estrada's ego when it comes to pitching against the Dodgers or making him feel better about himself. I would have gone with David Morgan. Right into Miller and Suarez, not necessarily in that order. It is what it is. Yeah, this guy's saying it's so frustrating that the offense can't step on the throat in any games. That's not true. They were doing it against the Giants in San Francisco, and then they were kind of doing it against the Giants in San Diego. They just can't really do it against the Dodgers. It's something about the Dodgers freaks not just Jeremiah Estrada out, kind of freaks all of them out. That being said, hold on. It's a Sunday. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm allowed to drink beer on the stream. So last week, I mentioned this on the podcast. The Dodgers series and the first game of the Giants series. It's pretty obvious that everyone now knows that the Padres have an incredible bullpen, and they're trying really, 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 really hard to jump on them early, attack them early, try and score runs in the first inning, try and get a lead that they can try and protect throughout the game. And Nick Pavetta going walk, single, walk to start the game felt a lot like Nestor Cortez last week, going like home run, double home run, or whatever he did in the first inning. It also felt like what Yu Darvish did against the Dodgers last week, where he had a really rough first inning and then was really good after. There's something going on with the Padres pitchers. I don't know what it is. It might just be a fluke. It might be some sort of side effect to what they're doing in their pregame workouts. Whatever it is, it's pretty obvious that the Padres pitchers are coming into the start with not a great feel for their pitches, right? Whether it's they're not finishing it or they can't control it or they're hanging it or whatever they're doing. It seems like, and now this wasn't true with Nestor Cortez yesterday, wasn't true with Yu Darvish on Friday, but I was thinking of those starts. I was thinking of Darren Smith saying, "Hey, like that first inning, that's just as big a part of the start as the other innings," and I get that, and he's not wrong. But sometimes it's hard to come out and be exactly who you're going to be. But that's what separates the good pitchers from the great pitchers, right? Is you come out and your first pitch is like it's a great pitch, and you're great all the way to like pitch 100 almost every time. Sometimes they still hit it anyway. But the Padres pitchers have just that's Darvish, Cortez, and Pavetta. We've seen this from Cease as well, where they just come into the game and something's wrong with them for like the first 4 batters before they can figure it out. I don't know what that is. And honestly, it didn't doom the Padres today. I was really, for a while there, thinking that this postgame show was going to be wow, that almost sunk them, but they powered through and they played a great game and they managed to squeak out a 2-1, 3-1 win, whatever. Nope, not that. So, on to Seattle. Let's just, before I focus everything on the pitching, Fernando Tatis Jr. went 0 for 3 with a walk and another incredible defensive play in right field. Luis Ariz went 0 for 4. Manny Machado 1 for 4 with a K. Ryan O'Hearn 0 for 4. Xander Bogaerts 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Wow. Eventually replaced by Will Wagner, who went 0 for 1 with his little chopper in the 9th inning that he got thrown out on. And Ramon Laureano went 0 for 3. Gavin Sheets went 2 for 4. Jake Cronenworth went 1 for 2 with a walk. Elias Diaz hit a 2-run home run. So this offense was kind of carried today, whatever offense there was, by Cronenworth and Diaz. Of course, those are the 2 runs. Cronenworth gets I think a single or a walk, and then Diaz hits the massive home run to left field. Those are the only 2 runs that the Padres score all day. Gavin Sheets did his part. I think he had a single and a double. No, he had 2 doubles. He had a double against Yamamoto and a double against Dreyer, and honestly, played pretty good defense in left field. So again, Gavin Sheets showing you that it's valuable to have him in the lineup. I imagine he'll stop appearing in that lineup whenever Jackson Merrill comes back. He was put on the injured list, I think, this morning or last night. Will Wagner got his roster spot until his ankle's feeling better or his bone bruise is gone or whatever, so he could come back. But once again, I mean, you look at the top of that Dodgers lineup. Shohei Ohtani, 1 for 4 with a home run. I know it didn't look good before the home run, but 1 for 4 with a home run. Mookie Betts, 3 for 4 with a walk. Freddie Freeman, 2 for 4 with 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. Teoscar Hernandez came this close to having a grand slam, but instead it's just a sac fly. The top 3 or 4 in the Dodgers lineup got the job done. The top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in the Padres lineup went, let's see. I'll include Will Wagner in this just because he took one of Bogart's at bats. I didn't realize. Wow, I just realized the 9th inning that was Bogart's at bat that they benched him for. Like, what does he make? 20 something million dollars, and he's getting benched in the 9th inning. I know he went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. I'm not gonna say like Schilt did a bad thing here, but yeah, average annual value. Before this page went blank, I think it said average annual value of $25.5 million. Let's see, this year, $25.4545454545 million is what he's getting on the payroll side of things. And that's going to be the same through 2033. And he got benched today in the 9th inning against a right-handed Kirby Yates for a kid who got called up this morning. That's not great. It's not great. But Tatis didn't do much of anything with the bat. Arise didn't do much of anything with the bat. Machado still looking real beat up. Didn't do much of anything with the bat. Ryan O'Hearn didn't do much of anything with the bat. Yeah, if you want to win these low-run pitching and defense games, which Mike Schilt loves to win these games. It's why his team's always bunting. You gotta not make the bad pitching decision. If you want to give Jeremiah Estrada another shot here, I think it's got to be on a day when the offense is cruising, not on a day when him making one mistake is really going to sink the ship. And that's what happened today. Nick Pavetta, good start. Jeremiah Estrada cannot be blamed for being put in this terrible situation where you could all but guarantee he was doomed to failure by his manager, Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui. Those guys were just mopping stuff up, cashing paychecks and trying to get guys out because they were asked to do so. Elias Diaz, shout out to you for being a very good backup catcher. I always say that the job of the backup catcher is to not necessarily threaten the starting catcher, but every few days you give him a breather and maybe you hit one over the wall. And that's what Diaz did. I thought it was going to be enough. I did. Padres and Dodgers are now tied at 74 and 57. The Padres are 43 and 22 at home. Quick math. That's 65 of the. Okay, we're busting out the calculator here because I need to do this quickly. So 74 plus 57. It's 131. So there's 31 games left. 43 plus 22. That's 65. They play 81 at home. So 16 home games left. And I already forgot what the other number was. Whatever. The Padres are going to have to figure out how to win games on the road if they want to win the NL West, which is absolutely in the mix because they're tied at the top of the division. But again, I think Schilte's got to wear this one. I try not to criticize him too much, even though he's definitely not my favorite manager in baseball. I try not to criticize him too much on the day-to-day stuff because there's a lot of decisions to be made and A lot of times he gets criticism for stuff that's just kind of bad luck, but this was a bad one. This was a bad one. I'm not going to criticize him for subbing out Xander Bogaerts in the ninth inning. I get that one. Bringing in Jeremiah Estrada into a tie game in that situation, there's just no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it whatsoever. And I guarantee, well, I can't guarantee, but I'll be interested to see what the post-game comments from Schilt look like. Obviously, I'm not watching them right now, but I'm going to keep an eye on them because maybe he'll get real defensive. Oh, what do you expect to do there? Strada's one of our guys. But again, I don't know how you defend this decision. And I think if I was in Mike Schilt's shoes, I would go to the press conference and say, that's on me. I got a little too cute. I wanted to boost Jeremiah's confidence because this is a team that we might face in the playoffs. I wanted to know if I could trust him against the Dodgers in the playoffs. And I probably should have gone to David Morgan in that situation. Wouldn't have guaranteed any better, result or anything, but he has a better track record against this team this year, proven success against this team this year. He hasn't pitched in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days, and he could probably use the work. And that's on me. I made a bad decision. I'm gonna, learn from it, come back, and try not to do it again later. That's my advice to Shilty. So 31 games left, and I said 16 games at home. So that's 15 games on the road. I mean, better to have one more home game than one more road game. Anyway, that's the only thing that I really felt like calling out in this game. I remain impressed by how much they were able to keep Ohtani from doing any real damage in this series until the end, until garbage time, essentially, of Game 3. Mookie Betts is still really good. Freddie Freeman is still really good. I don't know. I still think the Dodgers hitting leaves something to be desired. I think their defense leaves something to be desired. But they got the starting pitching, man. Yamamoto is a demon, and he's a really good pitcher. Blake Trinan's good. He only threw 3 pitches. The rest they're both. I mean, Tanner Scott, got through an inning and 6 pitches. Jesus. You look at some of these things where it's like Dreyer and Trinan combined for a 15 pitch inning. Tanner Scott had a 6 pitch inning, and Kirby Yates had a 13 pitch inning. Jeremiah Estrada threw 25 pitches and didn't even go a full inning. Yuki Matsui took 20 to get through an inning and 26 for Wandy Peralta to get through an inning and a third. That tells me that those Dodger batters, they heard what Dave Roberts was saying. They heard the stop swinging for the fences. They heard the let's do good at bats. And they worked those guys as much as they could. Each one of them gave up hits. So let's see. From the Dodgers, Yamamoto gave up 4 hits. Dreyer gave up 1. Trinan, Scott, and Yates gave up 0. Paveta gave up 2 hits. Estrada gave up 3. Peralta gave up 2. And Matsui gave up 2. So the Dodgers were just all over Padres pitching once Paveta came out. Not really what you expect from these San Diego Padres. The bullpen giving it up. The bullpen being embarrassed. The bullpen getting handed a 2-2 game and letting it turn into an 8-2 game. But these things happen sometimes. That is baseball. That's what Bud Black would be saying, I think, if it was his post-game press conference. Hey, that's baseball. We know Jeremiah Estrada is a great pitcher. We know he's better than that. Sometimes that just happens, and you got to wear it, move on to the next series, next game, next opportunity. But I think your job as a coach, a manager, whatever, is to put your players in the best position to succeed. And Mike Schilt, I'm not going to get into the lineup construction. I saw so many people complaining about Luis Ariz. I get it to a certain extent. I disagree with it to a certain extent. But he did not put Jeremiah Estrada or the team in general in the best position to succeed when he called on Estrada to come and pitch back-to-back games. Pitch a night game last night and a day game today against the one team that has shown an ability to not just hit you this year, but to absolutely dominate you. I don't know if I updated you guys, and I see there's more people now than there was before, so I can update this stat. I put it in the write-up on the section1904.com post-game thing. Here we go. Jeremiah Estrada entered this game with an ERA of 14.29 in 5 2/3 innings pitched against the Dodgers. Obviously didn't go well. He left this outing. I had to do this math on my own. You're welcome. With an ERA against the Dodgers. Oh, I already see a typo. It says this series. It's supposed to say this season of 18.47. That is very simple, dumbed down math. More than 2 runs per inning pitched. So every time he gets 3 outs, he gives up at least 2 runs. But only against the Dodgers. An ERA of like 1.3 something against everybody else. But against the Dodgers, no, can't get them out. Proved it last night. Darren and I said this on Thursday or Friday. Darren said, like, hey, I don't care if the Padres lose. I just don't want them to play stupid, right? I don't want them to be making fielding mistakes and base running mistakes. And I mean, hell, the first game, just behind the scenes, Darren was kind of losing it when Ramon Laureano got picked off going from second to third on a play that looked like he just forgot how many outs there were. I'm very glad that moment didn't turn into a bigger one that then led to a loss. That was kind of dumb, but the Padres played smarter. They played more their style of baseball, and the pitching seemed like it was carrying the day. And for the Padres to lose this game specifically this way, you take back first place, sole possession of first place, with a chance to go up 2 games on the Dodgers with no more head-to-heads. That would have been meaningful. That would have been genuinely meaningful. And I might be mad about this for a while. By that, I don't mean every day, but it's going to be the rest of the season, the next 5 weeks of the season. It's 6 weeks of the season. It's going to be hard for me to not look at the standings and think about that game that Mike Schilt threw away. That's what this is going to be for me. This is going to be that game that Mike Schilt threw away because he wanted to prove something with Jeremiah Estrada, and it blew up in his face. Just like a lot of people probably would have predicted it would have blown up in his face. And he had other options. Like, that's the thing, is now this becomes a referential on David Morgan. And why doesn't Mike Schilt consider him to be as good as the other guys when their performance is just as good as one another? Actually, let's do this. I know those other guys probably get more innings, but let's compare the bullpen arms this year. Okay, so before today's game, because Baseball Reference is not updated yet. Robert Suarez. We'll do ERA plus. It's a little bit more standard. 55 innings, 139. That's good. 139 is good. Jason Adams, 63 innings. That's the high on the team amongst the relievers. ERA plus of 272. That's insane. Adrian Morejon, 59 innings. ERA plus of 236. That's insane. Jeremiah Estrada, 58 innings. ERA plus of 164. It's very good. Wandy Peralta, 58 innings, ERA plus of 145, which, in case you forgot, because I just threw a bunch of numbers at you, is technically better than Robert Suarez. Probably not anymore after today, but it might be. David Morgan has pitched 36 innings this year, so that's 22 innings less than any of those other 5 guys I just mentioned, including Wandy Peralta. And he has an ERA plus of 250. The only pitcher on the team with an ERA plus better than David Morgan's is Jason Adam. That is it. If you look at his FIP, it is better than Wandy Peralta's and in line with the rest of these guys. If you look at his WHIP, it's not quite as good as Morejon. It's not quite as good as Suarez, but it's 1.036, which is right in line with the rest of these guys and better than Adam and a lot better than Wandy Peralta. There's something about this David Morgan thing. And now we have to talk about it. And it's annoying. And if Darren and I'll do a weekend recap tomorrow, and we'll talk about this series as the series, not just this game. And we'll talk about the San Diego FC draw last night because I didn't get to see any of it. But San Diego FC now in the playoffs. Padres social media account actually congratulated them. That was a big moment that I saw. But now, if I were Ben Woods, if I were any of the local radio shows, and probably part of the podcast tomorrow, it'd just be me bitching and ranting about why does David Morgan have 11 less innings pitched than Yuki Matsui this year? I think he's been on the team like all year, mostly all year. I don't remember him going down. I do remember him being around most of the season. And the results say he's just as good as Suarez, Adam, Morejon, Estrada, and Mason Miller, who has thrown 9 innings and has an ERA plus of 2.21. Also not as good as David Morgan's ERA plus. We're just comparing Mason Miller's Padres numbers there. So, I don't know. I hope someone asks this question in the post-game press conference. I hope not everyone is scared off by Mike Shilt's intimidation tactics. But this was brutal. This was a brutal decision. And now tomorrow, you can't just go like, oh, they got swept, but then they swept them right back in 2-game lead with no more head-to-heads. And look at all these games against the Rockies and the Orioles. Nope, you can't do that. Got to be like, Mike Shilt's got something against David Morgan or just made a really, really stupid decision with even worse reasoning than that to bring in Jeremiah Estrada, and the game just blew up in his face. I don't know. Thank you to everyone who has hung out. This has been, like 40 minutes of me just sitting here complaining about a couple different things. I have better things to do with my time on a Sunday, I think. I hope you guys do too. So I'm going to go get to those things. Remember to subscribe, section1904.com. Get a podcast every single weekday and some weekend coverage from myself and Darren Smith and other people that will soon be joining the staff. And we appreciate you. It's just $5 a month. We're trying to build something really special here, but we're trying to build it piece by piece and growing as fast as we can. Thank you to everyone who's already a subscriber. Thank you for supporting us. And we, not the royal we, Darren and I, will be back to chat with all of you guys here on YouTube and via podcast tomorrow.